Welcome back. We continue now with more coverage. So we saw the EFF wrapping up its National People's Assembly Conference today following the election of its top 6 leaders. Today, Umkhoto weSizwe party also celebrates its first anniversary at the Mabhida Stadium in KwaZulu-Natal with thousands set to attend. Now, political analyst Dr Fikile Vilakazi joins us ahead of MKP's celebrations and also weighs in on the dynamics unfolding within the EFF. Dr Vilakazi, thank you for your time with the SABC at this hour.
Good morning to you, Liz, and to you, viewers at home. Welcome.
It's been a busy week. We've seen the clash of political parties and the itineraries from the ANC, obviously looking at what's set to happen tomorrow. You've got the EFF, MK party as well, the SACP as well. But let's look at the EFF and the MK party. Have the battle lines been drawn between the EFF and Umkhoto weSizwe's party following EFF Secretary General Marshall Dlamini confirming that the party will not be attending the first celebrations today in Durban?
Lizel, it's quite a hard one, to conclude between the EFF and Umkhoto weSizwe, given the fact that they are part of the Progressive Alliance. So one cannot conclude and say that this is the end of the relationship between them. And also because leaders always say on the public domain that there are no permanent enemies in politics. It could be just the wounds are still fresh now. I think that they were hit hard, by the defections to Umkhoto weSizwe party, taking away the best of the minds in the EFF and some of the key founders. So, of course, it could be a statement of woundedness. But I would not want to conclude on it and say this is the end of the relationship. I think politics is full of surprises. It's
going to play out inevitably so. Thank you for that. But I want to now look at the EFF. Obviously, the top 6 now being elected, but also just the EFF and the politics of the EFF. It's staying power for the past 11 years. But we're really looking at what is required for them heading into what this newly elected leadership is going to represent, given the issues on the ground. What are you critically examining on that front?
I think that the EFF is growing politically, or for lack of a better word, I'd probably say maturing. But also they are going through a litmus test of power and of democracy. And I think it's something that this leadership, now that it is God again, many of them have been in the leadership before. They need to listen to the call and the cries of the people, particularly the members of the EFF, who are saying that as much as we are demonstrating confidence into your leadership, but we are also equally wanting to build a democratic institution. If it is an institution that wants to contest power in the country, it must be able to demonstrate its ability to uphold democratic arrangements of our society. I think that's the biggest call for this election for the EFF, to say we are giving you a chance again, go back and demonstrate decentralization of power into the structures, into the branches, but also into the leaders. Let everybody share the limelight of power, try and decentralize the face of the organization, try and decentralize the voice of the organization so that it's not just one voice that is being heard, not just one face that is being seen, because you are risking being interpreted as dictatorial, which is something, of course, the EFF is contesting. So for me, that's the biggest call and cry that I'm hearing in this election.
Well, thank you for that, because speaking about it being a litmus test for the EFF, I want to delve in further. The EFF maintaining its own internal democracy, some questioning whether this is Malema's alone to lead. But what are the justifications on that front, given where the party is at this juncture, but also the managing of relationships internally with the people that are left that he has to now work with? What leadership style is going to be needed, especially to reorganize heading closer to local government elections?
Politics require that you are able to navigate the political terrain with voices and people that you do not necessarily agree with. And this is the kind of leadership that I would want to propose, that the newly elected top 6 needs to begin to engage differently. So they have to rethink the tactic of the organization politically. Don't be emotional. Of course, there's a role in emotions, for emotions in politics, but engage from the place of tactic, engage from the place of strategy, to say we are negotiating power here. It is possible that the EFF, depending on how it leads, it may regain some of the members that have gone into the other, various political parties. And the reason why I'm saying that is because what is going on right now in the body politic is not just affecting the EFF, but it's affecting a number of political parties. Yep. People are defecting from the ANC, people are leaving EFF. Even the smaller parties that have just emerged as well are going to experience that back and forth. Yeah. And it's very crucial in this back and forth that strategy becomes centered beyond the pain and the emotion and the woundedness. So they need to demonstrate that they understand the democratic arrangements of our society and the dances that it requires. And they need to rise above the emotional brotherhoods and sisterhoods and so on, but really center that which matters for South Africans. First and foremost, for the EFF, what is being called for is to say, show us that you're able to do that dance and be democratic, because we have trusted you, we know you're a leftist politic, you've stood up for us in Parliament and so on, but demonstrate also that you have the systems in place where you can build them to be more democratic and negotiate power with those who have been there before.
Okay, so Dr. Vilakazi, beyond the pain and emotion, even just looking at Malema's address, was it captivating enough? Did it capture the gravitas of what is at stake? He reminded us about, or those in attendance rather, what the party stood for, sticking to its mandate of dismantling, the 7 cardinal pillars, including capitalism. But that also, alludes to the issue of reinstilling public trust as well. The policies and the ideologies that they also stand for. How clear was he on that front?
I have a feeling that South Africans who follow and love the politics of the EFF have got no doubt about the 7 cardinal points. Although I think the questions are beginning to emerge whether the EFF has the ability to deliver on the land question, for instance. And the very same politics of the left that they grounded on Lenin and Marxism and so on. I think the question mark is emerging there. But I think the biggest thing is really to express that emotion of the political party itself in a way that says ours is not just to be emotional and lament, but it is also to demonstrate that we are able to build a stronger institution in the form of the EFF. Yes, the emotions of the Commander-in-Chief have shown themselves up. I think really he was hit hard among not just him, the organization. If you lose a founder who's going to go out there and speak in the manner that Floyd Chivambo and Dalimbo are talking on the public domain, it's not an easy task. It's not an easy call to hold. So it's going to be a hard one, I think, and that emotion has expressed itself. He continues to be angry. He continues to be personal in terms of, how he engages with the MK party, for instance, how he engages about President Zuma, and so on. So to a certain extent, that has worked the strategy at the formation phases of the EFF. But now that the EFF is turning beyond 10 years or has turned beyond 10 years, they're doing some kind of change strategy to say, how do you then go beyond that emotion to a place of delivery.
It's a perfect segue then to look at the dynamics unfolding with Umkhoto weSizwe party as well, because I want to actually look at what it means to be black in a post-apartheid South Africa, having to transform the mindset, but the actual living conditions and the environment as well. There were swipes at former President Jacob Zuma by Julius Malema, who, you're accused of abusing black unity. There's also the VBS allegations that trail both the EFF and the MK party as well, given the people that obviously have crisscrossed. What's unfolding on that front and what's the impact there?
I think we are. There's nothing much that is changing for us as citizens. You are literally seeing the recycling of the radical economic transformation section of the ANC that has moved, through the lens of EFF and then NKP, VBS for Floyd and Julius Malema is a big one, and they've not necessarily brought the country into confidence, around that matter. Now Floyd has defected to Umkhoto weSizwe, and there are many other names, big names that have defected who are in the Zondo Commission, by the way, report. And none of those issues have been addressed in a satisfactory manner that brings the citizen into confidence. So you are seeing a recycling really of, for lack of better word, I would say that, wood that the nation wants to see, buried so that we bring in leadership that can revive trust into the public and the private sectors of our society. But I don't think that the MK party is taking us there. I think the issue of blackness is what probably they are rallying upon as a ticket. But the questions arise. The question will arise, these are not new people in politics. They've just recycling themselves. This is the very same President Zuma who was the president of the ANC. What is it that is different that he's going to do now? And why is it that he's only speaking now and Umkhoto and didn't do it? All of them, but Limpofu, and so on. Chibamba himself and Julius, they all come from the ANC.
Yeah.
At some point, all of them will say, we are willing to die for Zuma for the very same reasons that society is holding President Zuma accountable for. So it's a recycling of power that I do not think is going to help the landscape of what South Africa needs going towards 2026 and 2029. Giselle, there is still something else that is to emerge now for the politics that will take South Africa there, but I'm not convinced that it is this kind of progressive blackness that is being advocated for. I think that they are playing into the emotions of the nation, they are playing into our psyche as a people, as black people in particular, but this is not the radical black consciousness movement that is meant to take black people out of liberation. That's my contestation.
Well, it's also going to be interesting what the major message, emerges from Moses Mabhida Stadium when, it's the MK party leaders obviously going to be addressing those in attendance following the first anniversary celebrations. Dr. Fikile Vilakazi, thank you for joining us at this hour and for weighing in. We'll leave that conversation there. This, of course, ahead of MK party celebrations, as we mentioned, taking place at the Moses Mabhida Stadium in Durban. And also just having weighed in on the dynamics unfolding within the EFF following the election of its top 6 leadership.